Just starting the live stream.
And we're just starting the live stream now. Thank you. All good. We have apologies from His Worship the Mayor, Tim Brownlee and Paul Morris. I'd like to move that we accept the apologies. Could I have a second on that, please?
Excuse me, Chair. Sorry. We also have apologies from Paul Madrick as well.
Oh, thank you. Could I have a second on that? Thank you. Can't see anyone there. Someone raise their hand.
Liam Anderson.
Thank you. Everyone raise their hand to accept the apologies. Carried. The declaration of interest has been circulated via Microsoft Teams. So that was that. And I take it there's no urgent items not on the agenda. The minutes of the meeting for the subcommittee meeting held on 19 May 2022 to be confirmed as a true, correct record of the meeting. Could I have a second of that, please?
Could I just correct something or make a proposal?
Yeah, sure.
Just on my section, there's a note that says Dave Thrupp noted, and I think that would be Dave Ritchie.
You got that, Di?
Susie, is that correct? Yeah.
Yep. Got a skull.
Thank you.
So could I just have a second that they're the true confirmed record of that meeting?
Yep.
Peter? All those in favour, raise their hands.
Aye.
Carried. I'd like to approve my digital signature to be added to the confirmed cycling and walking subcommittee meeting minutes of 19 May 2022. Item 5 is the action list. Scott Baxendale, would you like to on that, please?
Right, in terms of item 1, the Milltown Weir crossing, the proposal has now been put through for consideration. I have seen some email traffic back and forth on matters for clarification, and we've not yet received an outturn to that. Jackie, I don't know whether there's anything you want to add to that or not.
No, nothing at the moment, thank you.
Okay, item 2, the historic bridge crossing. The preliminary work is completed in terms of what Stantec were doing. We're now looking at how it links in with item 3, which is the exit onto the state highway, and we are seeking clarification from NZTA on it. We haven't yet had a response. We've recently chased it again. I think probably they've been distracted with the latest weather-related issues, but we will continue to get an answer on that from them, and we'll bring it back to the very next one of these meetings for response. Item 4, trail safety audit is completed. It would be helpful if I could have a copy of the report, please, in hard copy to have a look at. Item 5, which is the loop line road diversion. We met with our contractor approximately 10 days ago, who are Destination Westland. We've been mapping out a temporary route, and we're putting in an NGR application to fund that temporary route. And then moving down further the page, the MGR funding applications, that work's now been completed and can come off. Item 7, the walking access NZ update, that's completed, so that can come off. Terms of reference at 8 are completed, so that can come off. And item 9, Pine Tree Road connection. Inga's got a report on today's meeting. Once that's through, I would anticipate that could come off as well. So I'm happy to take questions.
Doesn't look like there's any questions there. I'd like to move that we accept the updated report from Scott. Could I have a seconder, please? Peter. Thanks, Peter. All those in favour, raise their hands. Carried. The next presentation is from Melody Anderson, Chief Executive Officer of Destination Westland. Where you go, Mel?
Bear with me 1 second, I'll just share my screen. Right. Kia ora koutou, everybody. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, good as gold.
Okay, just a pretty quick update on what's been happening on the trail. You'll see there we've had quite a number of closures and diversions, a couple of full trail ones, which were actually very uncommon for us, and that was more related to the wind situation, causing quite a bit of havoc with trees and other debris across the trail, and a few trail diversions. Just a point to note, which I've noted there, is that we still get quite a bit of feedback and phone calls about the trail being closed with that Facebook post that says trail closure, when it's, yes, that part of the trail is closed, but it's a diversion, and wondering whether or not we can do something in that space. But just a note that we do have quite a few calls still about the trail being closed when it's actually just in a diversion state. Health and safety, we have installed the Mind Your Head signs at both sides of the Hokitika Bridge due to that low passage under there. The Kawaka section of the trail, there was a lot of potholes which have now been corrected. So there's your before and afters through that section. July, as you saw on the first slide with the trail closures and diversions, kept the team extremely busy with cleanups and checks and diversions, with a lot of trees down of varying sizes crossing the path of the trail. Just some more trees there because we like to see them. The Milltown shelter, as reported in the newspaper, got picked up and thrown away quite a fair way with that July storm, as well as losing some signs and other assets along the trail. Following that July storm, there was quite a huge amount of scouring along the trail, as you can see from these photos. And just more in here. These are directly related to that July event. Needless to say, we are still in the process of recovering from that and following this August one now. When we can get the team back out onto the trail, I'll be interested to see what sort of damage we have following this event. And just because I talk about him enough, but we never get to see him, Richard, our trusty trail maintenance guru, on a lovely clear day just last week, And that's about it.
That's good, Mel. The just a question from me, Mel. The scouring that sort of happened at the last event, did that get fixed up at all, or you're still in the process of doing that?
In the process, a claim went in for storm damage, so I haven't got a final update as to how far through that work was done.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from anyone else for Mel?
Just a comment, if I can, through the chair. Melanie, very happy to get that Facebook thing changed. I can probably do that fairly instantly and have one that says trail diversion up there, no trouble at all. And the other thing, I guess I've said it in our meetings in the past, but really just want to let everybody know what a good job Richard does. Richard and his team there, it's absolutely brilliant. Just working with him and how quickly things get done. Doing a really good job.
Thanks, Jackie. Hence why I felt it was only timely and fitting that we actually put a photo of him up.
Thanks, Jackie. Any further questions to Mel? I'd like to move that the presentation from Melanie Anderson, Chief Executive Officer at Destination Westland, be received. Could I have a second for that, please? Could someone speak up, because haven't got yours on screen?
Jackie.
Jackie, thank you, Jackie. All those in favour, raise their hand. Carried. Thank you. So we have a report now from the West Coast Wilderness Trail Manager, Jackie Gurdon. Over to you, Jackie.
Thank you. What I wanted to do today was just touch on some highlights of things that we're working on and got coming up from a Trail Trust perspective, and happy for John to contribute anything with them as well. So just take you through them. The very first thing is we have an annual forum every year where we get everybody together that wants to, that's connected with the trail. That's happening on the 1st of September. Our guest speaker this year is Craig Wilson from Quality Tourism. Craig did the audit ride with us last year and involved in New Zealand cycle trails and involved in tourism development quite extensively. So we're going to be having his focus is going to be really on the whole competitive and what we can be doing better with our trail, comparing it nationally and internationally, and looking at our businesses, and where we can get further growth from the trail. John and I will cover off what the Trust's been doing. Simon Bastian will give an overview from a sort of an overview perspective of the trail. I think Tim Brownlee is likely to make some comments, particularly with the work they're doing on the trail. And I know that obviously Richard will be there, I understand, as well too, and a lot of the operators coming. So that's 1st of September. Moving on, working with the Grey District Council. So I've been working with their new engineering team there. We've done a trail audit and had meeting and working through some of the things that need to be addressed in the Greymouth section of it. Initial body of work moving the Shantytown loop project forward. And also the panels, New Zealand Cycle Trails panels that we've got for both start and finish ends. The Grey District one went in a couple of at the kiosk there, so that's really good. The Western one is pending pending funding to get that installed, and looking at that going in down in the Ross area. Following on, so the Boardwalks meeting was held with Earl, myself and Tony, looking at the initial planning for the elevation of the boardwalks. We're updating the trail website. It hasn't, the new one, I haven't seen the new one yet, but it hopefully will be live probably within a month. Working with with Development West Coast Tourism on a trail campaign. I'll make a comment there that now with the growth of the trail, we work with Tourism West Coast, Development West Coast Tourism on the marketing side of it, and working with funding.
Just broke up there, Jackie.
You know, they really need to be leading a lot of this with the marketing side, but certainly we're doing what we can. We have also just done a winter photo shoot to give us some new content to push out with our advertising. We've had issues within the last couple of months with dogs on the trail in the Greymouth section, and the Grey District Council has been quite proactive with that, with signage going in, and also there's going to be some monitoring of the trail when they get the new dog ranger in there, just to monitor what's happening. I certainly have noticed on that section of the trail a lot more dogs are actually on leads, which is what we want. They've all got to be on leads. Working with Greymouth High School, they've got a project there, Papataoa Earth Care. They've got 3 sections of the trail that they're looking at doing some planting work on with all the schools. Have got different planting projects, and there's 3 of them that are happening on the trail. So I've been down with them looking at the sites. Also working with the young person in Greymouth and the Youth Trust at the upgrading of the bike park. So just working through that at the moment. We've obviously worked with the council team and Destination Western on the closures that we've had of the trail. And we're shortly in October developing the accessible ride guide for the trail. I've got Ross Ormsby coming down, who's been involved in this sort of work, and advocate for accessible riding on trails, working with us to develop that guide up. We've already done quite a body of work on it last year, but having Ross will finish the guide off, and that will be publicly available. So that's just a snapshot of some of the work that we've been involved in. Obviously, we're working on things like the Mahinapua lookout, but really waiting. There's no advancement since our last meeting on that. So yeah, that's it's an update. I don't know, John, if you've got anything you'd like to add to that.
I think you've covered off everything, Jackie. Thanks.
Jackie, just one question from me. Look, the planting program site, whereabouts is that in Greymouth exactly?
I'm getting a map. So it's a student project at the school. They've already grown a lot of the plants, and they're working on 3 areas. So I don't have a map of it. That was part of the work that the students are learning how to do. So they are mapping those areas out, and then that's going to go to the team that we're working with that manage the trail from the Grey District Council, engineering department, for them to approve that. So yeah, I don't have the map. I know where the sites are, but they're probably just a little bit hard to describe. But they're on the section between the aerodrome and Jack's Road.
Okay, exciting stuff, Jackie. Any further questions for Jackie? I'd like to move that we receive Jackie Gurdon's report. Could I have a seconder there, please?
Liam.
Inga Perkins. Thank you. Everyone in favour, raise their hands. Carried. Thank you. The next report is from Councillor Peter Haddock from the Grey District Council. Wait, Peter.
Yeah. I've got just a few small items to report. Jackie's covered some of it. The starting point opposite the railway station, sign provided by the NZCT has been installed with the earthworks and concrete completed. The in-house health and safety audit has been completed with input from Jackie and the trail team, and council are working with Jackie and the team just to follow up any of those outstanding items. Reactive maintenance following some of the storm events has been taken care of. Some of the bridges and that got scoured, and general rubbish across the trail. Generally, the trail on the west and the Grey District is in pretty good order. The Shantytown side route, this was budgeted for in our second year of our L2P, and we're hoping this year that it'll involve stakeholder engagement and hopefully some works going to tender. Now, what's happened there, some of the, sorry about that, I'll just now, what's happened there, one of the landowners out there, they've actually taken the trees off that property at the moment. So hopefully that might sort of open up some of the trail area along that route that may be better. So that's on the Adams property. So that's right. And just get rid of that. So I thought it was off. And Aaron Hames, the group manager of infrastructure, and Denise are looking at more NZTA funding from a different funding category, and this has been addressed, more proactively by our council. We haven't generally been, too proactive in that, so they're looking at different funding options there to move the trail forward for especially that Shantytown route. And the last item is, as I'm not seeking re-election on the Grey District Council, this will be my last meeting for this committee. And during the last 15 years as roadie portfolio councillor, I've been involved with the trail from its inception. And soon after being elected to council, the Coastal Pathway Group was formed, which started the trail from the Greymouth Breakwaters through to the Pra Hotel. And I remember at the time that was sort of council sort of faced a bit of trepidation, if you like, at the time, and it took a bit of work around the council to get council actively sort of behind that project. And then soon after, the Westland Wilderness Trail Committee was formed, and that saw the trail constructed and commissioned right through from Greymouth to Ross. And once again, our councils, there took a wee bit of getting some of the people across the line to that. But I'd just like to mention the mayors, Tony Cockshawn and Maureen Pugh at the time, the council CEOs who really worked hard to get the trail off the ground, and the council engineers, Mel Sullivan and Peter Anderson, especially, Francois, Diane, you've been there right from the start. And it's such a asset to the whole Western District and the community, and so many people along the ways that there are far too many to mention along there have contributed in such huge ways towards this. It's been a pleasure to be on this committee for except for one term in the middle there where Councillor Anton Becker was given the portfolio. But apart from that, my thanks is the last term here to every single person that's been involved with the effort here, and it's such an asset to our region. So thanks very much. That's my final report.
Thanks, Peter. And I just certainly like to thank you for the time and effort and experience that you've put into the trail, and also all the hard work that you put in yourself. So well done, Peter, and all the best in your next adventure. Any other questions for Peter? Okay, I'd like to move that we accept Councillor Peter Haddock's presentation. Could I have a seconder there, please? John Wood. Thank you, John. All those in favour, raise their hands. It's carried. Okay, the next presentation is from the Department of Conservation, Tim Shaw and Tony Thrupp. Away you go, guys.
I'm not sure we have one. I'll let Tony talk first, and then I've got a couple of things I'll mention. Anything, Tony?
Just a couple of small things. One of them is just to do with the waterways, not part of the cycleway, but on the wards to Kennedy's Creek section. We're just changing the entrance there. So the construction started on that bridge, which will sort of hopefully prevent people riding straight ahead and doing the more adventurous part of the community area water race instead of continuing on the wilderness trail. So that's underway. And then we're also just working with the council on doing some inspection and some load testing on the council swing bridge out at the Hokitika Gorge. So hopefully we'll be progressing that shortly. And that's pretty much it from me.
Any questions for Tony? I've just got a couple of things then. I just wanted to mention the Jobs for Nature team that's doing all the weed control at the moment in and around the Hokitika and Ross region. They've done an awful lot of work on the piece of the cycleway between Hokitika along the tram out to Canary, and then also on the bit from How Road out through to Di Maitland's place actually. So just wanted to acknowledge that there's a group of, well, 18 of them actually, who from time to time just want to do local work. So they've been smashing the gorse and broom and blackberry along those tracks. The good side of that is that it looks a whole lot better, but I guess the downside is that we've opened up a lot of areas which, if we don't plant trees in them, will just come back, I guess, in terms of the weeds that were there. So those teams have gone on the scrounge and salvaged seedlings from the surrounding forest and tried to plant them where the weeds are. This is my first cycling and walking subcommittee meeting. I just wanted to, in an ideal world, we'd have plants available from nurseries which have got a much higher chance of success. I didn't know whether there's any plants available anyway through cycleway funding, but there's definitely an opportunity with all those weeds cleared to do some re-veg along that track. I guess the other part of that is just Wadeson Island. We're working with the District Council here to do a bit of track work through Wadeson Island. Currently it's not going to be on the cycleway, but Simon Bastian's dream is that it actually would end up being part of this, would take over from the piece of the cycleway that's currently on the stop bank. But at this stage, we're just sort of forming a bit of track there. John Strange has helped with the alignment through there so that it's up to scratch if that ever is the case. So in the first week of September is Conservation Week. So we're organising a bit of a planting and track building day down there on the 8th of September. So we'll be inviting it's going to be a stakeholder event rather than a public community event, but we're going to invite a bunch of people down there and hopefully get 40 or 50 people throwing some gravel at that track and planting some trees in the gaps. That's about all I had. We've had a request just to formalise that Wadeson track just in terms of the MOU. Inga, you probably remember there's a very brief MOU that was written in 2004 about what the specific roles are between the department and the council there. So we just want to bring that up to date. So we're going to work on that with Vicky and I think your team, Scott, in the next wee while. That's all I had. But if you've got some trees hiding somewhere or some money for some trees, we could organise for them to get planted. That's us.
Thank you, Tim and Tony. Really good to see that some of those nasty weeds get taken out of the track, and as you rightfully say, what we need now is to put some natives in there. So well done, you guys. Any questions? Any further questions to Tim or Tony? I'd like to move that we accept their verbal report. Could I have a seconder there, please? Peter Haddock, seconder. All those in favour, raise their hands. It's carried. Okay, the next report is from Inga Perkins. I've just lost my screen at the moment, Inga, but could you carry on with your report? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I did a brief written note to go with the agenda, which was noting that we have a new name. We've been rebranded, Helena Nuku Aotearoa Outdoor Access Commission. So that's a double whammy of incorporating more of a Maori feel to our government commission. It's all about connecting to and across the land, connecting people connecting places, but it's also picking up the outdoor in access as opposed to just the walking access of our Walking Access Act. We've always been about all forms of access to the outdoors, but now that's much more clear in our name, which is helpful. The second point was picking up the Pine Tree Road connection from the actions we looked at before. There was a task for me to do a bit of a business case to try and help that along, so council will be in a position to seek funding when the appropriate funding was available for well-being, community connectivity, that sort of thing, active transport. And I drafted that. I have shared that, had a chat with Simon and Bastian about that, shared it with Carl, and Carl's already taking that forward. And so the work that the information I've supplied has been helpful in that. And also it was nice to see the paper pick that up as a positive this morning from those notes. So hopefully in not too far off the future, we'll have a walking cycling connection between Brickfield Road, Blue Spur area down to Kanieri and the West Coast Wilderness Trail there. And just a couple of things.
You're just breaking up in places there.
Sorry, that happened before with this computer. I apologise. Did you want me to repeat any of that, or are you happy with that?
No, I'm quite happy with it, but I'm just for others. That's
okay.
all.
So just a couple of other things. Just something that has come up recently is the racecourse development, and just concerned that haven't been a part of that as the advocate for public access, and also this committee. Perhaps we've missed an opportunity there to have some input. The members or this committee as a whole to be part of those initial stakeholder conversations. So I'm keen to pick up that opportunity if there's still time. I've emailed Leslie this afternoon to see if we can do that. I understand that John and Liam are putting forward a submission from the Mountain Bike Club, so I think it'd be good if I did that as well from the Outdoor Access Commission. And having a look at that, it's pretty much a hub of connectivity. It's, when you look at the cycle trail like that, there's joined connections in all directions. So it's a really useful opportunity to focus on public access and community connectivity there. And that connects up to the Racecourse Terrace subdivision and the new reserve there that was given to the council. And that connects through to Alpine View with a public access easement. And Vicky was asked about that by a member of the public, saying that the public access there appears to be obstructed. So there's a house there. The owner knows that the access is available, but has put temporary obstructions in the way, and so it doesn't look as if it's as a public access there. But also there's a deep gully, so it's not very practical. But in line with the Pine Tree Road opportunity, it seems that access that would connect through from the cul-de-sacs of Alpine View and Racecourse Terrace subdivision would be really worthwhile looking into, just building on all that connectivity for our community. And so perhaps I can ask Scott to pick that one up. There might be some opportunities there through what Carl's doing with Pine Tree Road. There's some opportunities there. Just wanted to raise that.
Okay, I mean, is it worthwhile me just touching very briefly on the recreation part of the racecourse? We commissioned a company called RSL to look at leisure and sporting facilities within Hokitika, and they were focusing mainly on the racecourse and also Cass Square. And they approached a number of main stakeholders within Hokitika, and there were some questionnaires issued. There was a public meeting which David Carruthers and Latham Martin went to, and there was an evening event that we held at the council offices. Now, I've been approached separately by John Strange. We had a conversation 3 or 4 weeks ago where John was saying, well, I'd quite like to have been involved in that. The consultants that we're using at RSL are very receptive to people who have got an active stakeholder interest. We have to limit the numbers from each organisation that go. So when we did the stakeholder event at the council offices, I think we limited to about 2 per organisation. Otherwise, it becomes too unwieldy and you can't do anything with it. But anything that you give through, we will forward onto RSL and they can pick that up with you as part of the review. It's still in the very early stages of this.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Are you able to forward the questionnaire to prompt any submission? That would be helpful.
What I'll do is I'll give you, we'll put you directly in contact with them and then you can talk to them directly.
Thank you very much. That would be marvellous. And just a couple of other minor little things. I've been working with various council staff members on 3 obstructed legal roads where there's been lock gates. One of those is sorted out. So many thanks through Carl and Scott for that. 2 others still remain, just hoping that those will be resolved soon. Hopefully, maybe by our next meeting, we'll have something positive to report. And the other one was just real appreciation of what's happening on Ways and Island. And John Strange mentioned that to me earlier. And the combined work, the collaboration between DOC and the council and conservation volunteers and Western Milk Products. There's a new trail going in through there and all sorts of other work happening in there. Really great to see, especially as Tim mentioned, I was involved a little bit with the old MOU many years ago. Good to see. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Inga. Any questions for Inga? No questions. Okay, I'd like to move that we accept the report from Inga Perkins. And could I have a seconder for that, please? Anyone? Peter. Thanks, Peter. So all those in favour, raise their hand.
Aye.
Carried. The last report is from the Mountain Bike Club. Liam Anderson. Over to you, Liam.
Kia ora, team. Just got a few notes of what we've been up to. I think at the last meeting we indicated we're applying to host a national cross-country race, which we failed to get that. It was given to Christchurch instead, which is fine, but we've had some good feedback from Mountain Biking New Zealand on how to do better in the future. The Mountain Bike Club was also alerted to the recreation review kind of after all those meetings happened. And then we read the report, which I think they'd submitted, which had very little on biking as a recreation opportunity in Hokitika, which we thought was strange. And so we got the questionnaire form and said we could fill it out. So we've been doing quite a good job of that and thinking about, what recreation activities around the racecourse and Cass Square would look like for mountain biking. Can I share my screen? I've just got some doodles which might help.
So what?
Doodles. Can you guys see the map?
Yeah, good one.
So in terms of cycling and access, we're thinking, well, the racecourse, as Inga said earlier, is a great hub to a lot of areas. So I've just quickly drawn on a few lines of some existing ones, which this is the existing heritage loop between the airport and the racecourse. I thought, a great opportunity would be to link this through to the primary school. Oop, don't know what's happened there. And Jolly Street and even up to Alpine Airport Drive. There'd be some good opportunities for this is recreation reserve through here and then airport land. So creating some loops around here, which would be really through some amazing bush and could be great views off this terrace. And it's just about, linking lots of different areas to create recreation opportunities for all sorts of users. And yeah, we kind of think those sorts of opportunities were a little bit overlooked in the brief from the recreation review, but they're actually quite low-hanging fruit in terms of the benefits they could return to the community. And following on from that, I've just got informed about, is it the Better Off funding from the Three Waters money? And just wondering if whether the mountain bike club's thinking about whether putting some applications for actually achieving some of these, like especially a track through here would be a good opportunity for some funding. And that's about it from the mountain bike club. Any questions?
May I ask through the chair, is that something, Scott, that Carl could pick up in line with that Pine Tree Road funding application? It's all part of the same picture.
In relation to what? It's in relation to the Better Off funding?
Yes,
Or...
yes, and that, yes, and being able to create those connections, particularly the Pine Tree Road is going to help Brookfield down to Canary School. This will be an opportunity to connect into Hokie Primary School around the back there.
And you're talking about the mountain bike club. We can have a discussion offline. I'll talk to Leslie about it as well.
Great, thank you very much. It's the
Okay.
perfect kind of thing for this committee. I think subcommittee, I think, to be promoting.
Any further questions for Liam? I'd like to move that we accept Liam's report. Could I have a second, please? Anger, second it. Thank you, Anger. All those in favour, raise their hands. And before I close off, I just I talked about Peter Haddock's efforts towards the cycling club, and I just like to thank him for his contribution towards the mountain biking and cycling. You know, I've been involved with Peter on a number of meetings, and he's been very supportive of the events. So great effort there, Peter, and I'm pretty sure all the team like to sort of thank you for what you've done. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Much appreciated.
Right, I'd like to move out of the public excluded section now. And could I have a second on that, please? John Wood. All those in favour, raise your hands. Carry.